Nikki Haley, I got something for you.
Period.
She was on the Breakfast Club, and there were things that were unconscionable and irresponsible and cannot go unanswered. So we're gonna pull a rolling. Okay, and we're gonna deconstruct and dissect, and we ain't got a lot of time, Chad, but whatever we can fit in the next 9 minutes, we about to get in that ass. So let's go on ahead and let's just play. And what I'm going to do is I have a soundbite, and we're going to pause it and go through that clip. So let's play part of Nikki Disgraceful Haley's appearance on The Breakfast Club.
With Obama, that was, if you go back, that's when we really started to feel the division. That's when it was...
A lot of that was because of white supremacists, though.
Well, no, I think it was everything. Everything was exaggerated with the Obama administration. It became more about gender. It became more about race. You just people felt like they were being put in camps through that administration.
Girl, what the fuck is you talking about? That's when we started? So it wasn't division when you had whites only fountains, when you had whites only counters, whites only rows on buses and trains. That wasn't division. It wasn't by gender. When women couldn't even motherfucking vote, not even white women. It wasn't division when we were literally divided into a fraction of a human being. That wasn't division. It was the black man becoming president. Now all of a sudden motherfuckers talk about it some division. That's one of the most asinine, ridiculous things I've ever heard in my fucking life. And I don't even want to say stupid because I think it's a compliment to call that stupid.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a compliment to call her stupid.
It is.
Because if you call her stupid, then you are erasing the fact that she's insidious.
And exact in what she's doing.
Exacting.
Absolutely.
But we got more to get to, so I'm going to have to hold a little bit of fire because we only got a couple of minutes to get through it. Okay, next clip.
You said you believe that states have the right to secede.
I think states have the right to make the decisions that their people want to make. If Texas decides they want to do that, they can do that.
Now, this states' rights bullshit. First of all, they can't. And she want to come out, I know they're not going to do it. But bitch, if they not going to motherfucking do it, why are you talking about they can do it? Because it's a dog whistle to Republicans, white nationalists, the whole states' rights issues. It wasn't about slavery, the Civil War, it was about states' rights. Right. But be clear, when a Republican talks about states' rights, what they're talking about is the ability of Republican fascist governors to strip you of your citizenship.
Period.
And your autonomy.
Period.
That's what she's saying. Not, it's just, I think that if you're the people closest to the people that are closest to the girl, get the fuck out of here. What you're saying is, I'm going to be bird box. Whatever these Republican governors is doing to y'all motherfuckers down there in Texas, Florida, shit, whatever, I ain't got shit for you. I ain't gonna come to the rescue.
The Ronald Reagan remix is what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go to hell, Nimrata.
Y'all got to be careful about the states' rights shit.
Yeah, because, see, we know history. That's the other fucking problem.
Yeah.
We're actually informed, astute, and we're with your ass.
But it gets worse, Jay. It gets worse. So let's go back to the clip.
This was on the heels of Ferguson. Every place in the country was on fire. But what we did, we didn't have riots. We had vigils. We didn't have protests. We had prayer. And we brought out the best in South Carolinians to say, it's time. And we brought that Confederate flag down.
Now, this shit, when she was talking about the Emmanuel 9, my blood was fucking boiling. Because how dare you talk about a white racist terrorist attack on black parishioners and couch it as, isn't that nice? Look at how benevolent those black people were before they were gunned down by a white fucking supremacist. Doesn't that just show you how great South Carolinians are? They said you don't have to do with this. And they prayed for him, even though he was a white man who came there to kill him. They prayed with him and they were so nice. And isn't that fucking nice? Are you sick in the head? Are you fucking demented and deranged? To talk about it in that way just shows how completely divorced she is from how appalling it was, how much it shook Black people. They weren't there to be benevolent to this white fucking racist. They were there to be safe. And they were not safe because of white supremacy. The same white supremacy that she refuses to acknowledge. The same white supremacy that in the next clip she's going to say, well, we wanted to put that to the side. We don't want to address that right now.
Girl. I'm going to unload after you.
Okay. Let's go to the next clip. It gets worse.
You know, the national media came in and they wanted to define this. They wanted to make it about guns. They wanted to make it about racism. They wanted to make it about the death penalty.
It wasn't about racism.
It was. It was
a racist mass killing.
But the point was, I strong-armed them and said, there will be a time where we talk about all of that. But right now we have 9 souls we need to put to rest. I didn't have that luxury because 2 days later, the killer came out draped in the Confederate flag.
The luxury and the privilege that it possesses to say, well, we don't need to have that conversation right now. You notice how they don't want to have a conversation about motherfucking the dangers of white supremacy, even though that is the number one domestic threat to our country and has always been?
Per the FBI.
Per the FBI. That's not even Black people saying, that's white people saying that. You don't want to have a conversation. Well, we'll get to that later. There is no later for Black people. But she doesn't give a fuck. Mm-mm. But this last part took me over the edge.
Now, in South Carolina, half the people saw the Confederate flag as heritage and tradition. The other half saw it as slavery and hate. My job wasn't to judge either side. My job was to get them to see the best in themselves and go forward.
That is cowardice. That is apathy. That is dehumanizing. Mm-hmm. If you are somebody's psychiatrist, then yeah, maybe, oh, well, I don't judge. I'm just here to listen, try to help you get through your shit. But as a fucking president or even governor, your job is to show some kind of moral leadership and moral authority.
Right.
And if you're saying that you would abdicate that to make everybody feel better, some motherfuckers don't need to feel good. If you're a white supremacist, you don't need to feel good. You need to feel judged. And that's the problem. We coddle them too much at the expense of everybody else. So she's a coward. She doesn't give a fuck about racism, except for where she sees it when she thinks that as a Black person who has the audacity to succeed. That's racist. Not the founding fathers having slaves or enslaved people. That's not racist. She got all this other excuses for what the fuck isn't racism because she doesn't actually care. And the reason why I say all this is to say she is not a person who is a moderate. She is not a person who would have any kind of, we would not be safe. We would not be safe under a Nikki Haley presidency. We gotta wrap it up. Erica, your final words.
Just very quickly, because you all know I'm from Georgia, but never forget, and Erica Savage said this, never forget who sold the robes of the Klan. And Nikki Haley is no different. It's flat out racism. They use Black people however it's going to work best for them. And these folks, they're no moderate Republicans.
Period.
They're either scared or they're full on nasty. Be very clear. These people are not changing. This is who Nikki Haley and the rest of them are. Their adjacency to white supremacy is their chip.
Period.
And everybody else is stew meat.
Yeah.
So all of that to say, please take people at their word. You can always connect with me at one Erica Savage, thereframebrain.com. Reecie, it was really, really a joy and a pleasure to be in studio with you to honor the Black Eagle, Joe Madison.
Rest in power, Joe Madison. We're going to keep giving him hell because we cannot let this stand.